What if the delay you are frustrated with is actually the very thing God is using to prepare you for what you keep praying for? You expected it by now. The door should have opened, the relationship should have happened, the breakthrough should have arrived, and yet you're still waiting. But there is a hidden reason God sometimes makes you wait longer than expected. He's not only preparing the blessing, he is preparing you to carry it. Joseph received a dream from God, but the dream did not immediately become reality. Before the palace came the pit, the slavery, and the prison. Genesis 50:20 reveals the shocking truth behind his journey. What others intended for evil, God could use for good. Your waiting season may be doing something you cannot see yet. God may be developing the character, wisdom, discipline, and spiritual maturity you will need when the answer finally comes. The second reason may be even harder to accept. Sometimes God delays because your timing is not his timing. You may see an opportunity and think, this is it, but God sees what you cannot see. Proverbs 3:5-6 tells you to trust in the Lord rather than depending entirely on your own understanding. You see the door. God sees what is behind the door. You see the opportunity. God sees the consequences. You see the relationship you want. God sees whether that relationship will strengthen your purpose or quietly destroy it. A delayed answer is not automatically a denied answer. Abraham waited for the promise God had given him, and Hebrews 6:15 reminds you that after patiently enduring, he received what was promised. Your impatience may be telling you to move, while God's silence may be telling you to remain. And here is the third hidden reason. God may be protecting you from receiving something before you are ready for it. Some blessings become burdens when they arrive too early. David was anointed king while Saul was still sitting on the throne, yet David had to wait. He had opportunities to force the promise, but he refused to take the kingdom into his own hands. That waiting trained him to trust God's authority instead of his own impatience. You may be asking God, why haven't you given me this yet? While heaven is asking, what would happen if you received it right now? The answer may be uncomfortable. Perhaps you would mishandle it. Perhaps success would change your priorities. Perhaps the relationship would become an idol. Perhaps the money would expose weaknesses that are currently hidden. Perhaps the platform would amplify a character that still needs to be transformed. God is not cruel because he makes you wait. Sometimes his delay is mercy. Romans 8:28 reminds you that God works all things together for good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. The fourth reason is that your waiting may be strengthening your faith. Faith that has never been tested is easily shaken. Anyone can praise God when the answer arrives, but there is something powerful about continuing to trust him when nothing appears to be changing. Psalm 27:14 says to wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Notice the connection. Waiting is not passive weakness, it can become spiritual strength. Every day you choose obedience instead of desperation, prayer instead of panic, and trust instead of control. Something inside you is changing. And there is one more warning you cannot ignore. Do not allow a long waiting season to convince you that God has forgotten you. Elijah experienced exhaustion. David experienced hiding. Joseph experienced imprisonment. Even Jesus spent years in obscurity before his public ministry began. Hidden does not mean abandoned. Silence does not mean absence. Delay does not mean denial. Sometimes God is working in places you cannot see, arranging circumstances you cannot control, closing doors you would have forced open, and preparing people and opportunities that have not yet entered your life. So stop measuring God's faithfulness by your calendar. Stop assuming that because it has not happened yet, it will never happen. If God gave you the promise, keep walking in obedience. If he has closed the door, stop trying to break it down. If he has told you to wait, then wait without surrendering your faith. Your assignment during the delay is not to obsess over when the promise will arrive. Your assignment is to become the person who can faithfully carry it when it does. What feels like wasted time may secretly be preparation, protection, purification, and positioning. And when the answer finally comes, you may look back at the season you desperately wanted to escape and realize that the waiting was not the interruption to God's plan. It was part of the plan.